Today, we see Bill Gates as the richest. But there was a man in history. If he was of this time, he would be worth twice as much as Bill Gates. So, as the title itself mentions, today's video is about True Man of Steel. That is none other than Andrew Carnegie, the richest and the largest producer of steel in the history of this world. So in this video, we see how an immigrant from Scotland, just with 5 years of schooling, became the richest man in the history of modern world. Before we start, if you still have not subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel to support and click on the bell icon to get notification for more informative videos. So let us begin. Andrew Carnegie was not born as a rich kid. His birth took place in November 25, 1835, in a small town called Dunfermline in Scotland. His family was so poor that his mom worked in shoe factory and his father in a hand weaving works. Both worked around the clock to live. By the invention of steam mills, his father's business went down, and seeing his father begging for work hit young Carnegie effectively. In 1848, the Carnegie family immigrated to America in search of new job with a hope to create a new life. They started working in Pittsburgh's harbor manufacturing, but still their life wasn't settled properly. So young Carnegie had to leave education and started working as a messenger boy to deliver telegraphs around the city using bicycle. This can be mentioned as the beginning of a new story, as this work gave an opportunity to the young, getting himself familiar with the rich people, businessmen around him, and soonly familiarized himself with the city's business community. At the age of 17, Andrew Carnegie was well experienced in memorizing Morse code, that he could tell the message without writing it down. This catches the eye of Thomas Scott, the regional manager of Pennsylvania Railroad Company, which had the biggest rail network at the time. He took Carnegie as his assistant, but eventually, recognizing the potential of Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Scott mentored him as a father and successful businessman. Thomas Scott later introduced Carnegie about the stock investments, which gave him the taste of wealth. As the time went, Andrew Carnegie started making money for himself. When the Civil War broke out in America, while everyone was suffering, Andrew Carnegie made himself a fortune. He saw that the enemies were burning the wooden bridges, and he launched Keystone Bridge Manufacturing Company to build metal bridges instead of wooden bridges. It made fortune for Carnegie, and it got its own iron mine in America, which gave him the industrial independence. From here, Andrew Carnegie's journey into the iron and steel industry began. Here, he owned a triad company, that is a group of 3 companies, one supporting the other. Iron Mine Company produced the raw material which is required by his bridge manufacturing company, and his bridge manufacturing company gave the structure which is required for the railroad manufacturing company. Being a wealthy person in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, Carnegie moved to New York, the house of wealthy people. Carnegie's effort to blend in with the New York's rich community didn't go well, and he was disappointed. But Carnegie didn't stop. He took in the new inventions and successfully built America's first steel plant. He spent money on the best employees and the workers and tried to make them work at their maximum ability. He was ruthlessly making his workers work hard, and as the technology grew, he replaced them with the machines, which didn't ask for raise or even rest. Carnegie was smart and talented businessman. He named his steel mine by one of his customers, who was the richest railroad manufacturer. To get all his orders and to please others, to show his respect towards his customers. And this idea didn't fail him, but they made him more wealthy. He then brought in a new, rude-mannered person called Henry Clay Frick, with whom Carnegie started conquering more. With his help, Carnegie carried out few of his dirty works like suppressing workers, cutting their wages, which led to the Homestead Strike, which then became famous as Homestead Massacre after the death of few laborers and soldiers of Carnegie's private army. Carnegie, with help of Frick, played many cheap business tricks, like in order to overcome his competitors, like Duquesne's steelworks and few railroads companies, where he managed to spread fake rumors about the quality of the products which were being produced by those companies. Even though they were fake rumors, it made fortune to Carnegie. When Duquesne's work fell into loss and they finally decided to sell their company, Carnegie again played his gimmick and bought the same company which was brought down by himself. At this time in history, Andrew Carnegie Company itself produced more steel than the entire Britain. As everything should come to end, Andrew Carnegie got tired of making money. At the age of 70, Carnegie wanted to retire from business and wanted to spend his time with family. So, he decided to sell all his company shares, and this made him the single richest man in the history. After cutting himself away from the business, he dedicated himself for the well-being of society, that he spent all his money on social welfare. Since he didn't had schooling, he educated himself from public libraries. So, he donated more than 2,500 public libraries. He donated few of his building structures for art theatres. He didn't do all this to show off his kindness towards the society, which can be seen that only few places mentioned credits for his donation. The last 10 years of his life, all his work was spending all the wealth he made for the betterment of society. Carnegie was the richest, but was a complex human being. As he abused his laborers, tortured them, he played cheap business gimmicks to put off his competitors. But in the end, man who committed many sins became a saint. He showed the world two feelings about money. One, the happiness we get from making money, and other is the satisfaction we get by donating it to the betterment of the world. He once told that the millionaire will be but a trustee for the poor, entrusted for the season with a part of the increased wealth of the community, but administering it for the community. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel